I suffer for my art. Now it's your turn.
I look really pale like white boy next to you. That's
Well, you've got a lot of UV buzzing around behind you in those studio lights, which are nice.
plus I never see the daylight.
Yeah. And I've got like wood and plants, and, I'm going for the organic.
Organic size, synthetic Doug.
Yeah.
How are
That's,
you?
yeah, I'm all right.
What's going on? Anything?
Well, the puppy's growing.
Oh, you have to send
Growing
me a
into a
new
pain in the ass is what she's growing.
well,
No,
that's what they all
no.
are. You have to send me a pic though, because people
Yeah.
like, the pictures of the puppy. And I want
Between,
to welcome our new friends that are watching.
yeah, welcome. Yeah.
Welcome.
So if you happen to fall upon these beautiful moments that we share, don't forget to subscribe. And it's not like going to cost you. It's not that word subscription like all the other Netflix and things where they take money.
No,
This is just a simple, just subscribe to the fact that you like it.
you get all this loveliness for free.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, give us a like and a subscribe. And you know what? This is a perfect opportunity for you guys to ask questions of Psy. I know that there's a lot of Psy fans mostly out there besides my mom and dad, and they're also Psy fans.
It has been
So
said that Psy
leave,
is questionable.
yeah, leave some comments and ask some questions so that we have stuff to talk about in future episodes.
True that. Oh,
But
so I
yes,
think,
welcome to all the new viewers and subscribers. Thanks for doing that.
yeah.
And so what else, Cyril?
Well, we're out of the box. We're
Yeah,
running.
I wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago, and we got sidetracked with other things, and I know that it seems like I watch an awful lot of documentaries, but I do. That's how I learn things. I was
Well, that's
terrible in
good.
school. I've learned everything I know through reading and documentaries. So, did you watch that Gene Wilder documentary that's on Netflix?
No, I don't. Unlike you, I don't watch that much TV. I should, because if we're going to get into these comparative points of view, I should expand my horizons. I can hear your cat.
I know. That's Abby. She's a nightmare right now. This cat was silent for 15 years. She would make little squeaking noises. And all of a sudden, she lost her hearing. And
Ah,
so now she screams and she's super loud. She's really adorable, but she always waits till these moments to do this. I
right.
digress. It's not so much about watching the documentary, it's just about the thoughts that came into my head while watching it. Gene
Yeah,
Wilder,
yeah.
watching his documentary, this man was unbelievably fearless. I mean, just in his approach and his role in Willy Wonka, the things where he comes to the gate and he does the somersault and all these different things that he did and it made me think about being fearless as an artist. And some of my favorite really fearless comedians and actors and things like that. And it made me think about musicians and you know have you ever felt fearless, or are you always questioning? And does that ever is that something that ever comes up with you?
Yeah, it does. That's a good question because fear is never far from the consciousness of most of us. I think even the box that we think that we live in, our identity is kind of defined by the fears of the fables we were told as kids and ooh, you don't want to stick your head out, you might get shot, or you don't want to stand out from the crowd, you might make an exception. But of course, when you're an artist, you're you're just programmed to make an exception. You're always going to want to stand out, draw attention to yourself. It doesn't relieve the fact that you still get imposter syndrome sometimes, and but once you're committed and you're thrown into you throw yourself off the cliff and you're falling and you realize actually you're not falling for a minute, you're flying. And that fear disappears because you're so committed to what's coming at you. And it's like a relationship with yourself that's in an environment that is totally outside of any control. And that's the beauty of it. And if you can get into that moment, that's a huge experience that leaves you wanting more. whether that makes you braver or stupid, which is and back to that title, I suffer from my art, and now it's your turn. You start to think that everything you do is really good, and then you ram it down people's throat, and they go, "Well, actually," and you go, "No, no, no, I only like to hear what I want to hear." And we live in a world where people only listen to what they want to hear. Echo chambers, complimentary medicine, where you go to see a doctor and he just compliments you, and suddenly you feel better. It's like the ultimate placebo. But yeah, fearless. Wow. Jumping off a cliff and that.
I think about my own career path, and I don't there were moments of fearlessness, like, or stupidity, moving to New York City with $1,300 in your pocket. That could be considered stupid.
That's a
Now,
lot of money.
to be fair, I had relatives that I was able to buffer that initial stay with, but I watch people like Chris Farley, you know, and some of the things that he did were absolutely fearless. Will Ferrell, another comedian that absolutely fearless, and I just love that. And I was trying to think of some musical examples, and I think there's people like that really are flamboyant. David Bowie was fearless, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He was always looking to be the undefinable. I
Right,
mean, if you try and put the trouble with music is there's this competitive nature that ends up pigeonholing artists in
right.
music. And if you try and stay one step ahead, people don't understand where you've gone and it takes them a while to catch up. And by the time they've caught up, you've already moved on. And if
Well,
the
fearless can very easily turn into ridiculous.
yeah, well,
You know what I mean? Like, you could take it too far. Look at, how Elton John's early days, he was quite fearless, but then, when he comes out in Central Park with the duck costume,
yeah.
it's ridiculous. I
Well, I
mean,
think he
for me.
knows he's just parodying the whole thing.
Right.
He's just sending it all up and saying, if you want a show, here's a show. This is the most ridiculous I can be, and I'm still going to perform.
Yeah.
And we're back to Dali's mustache again.
Right.
If you can disarm the crowd, you get to see what they're doing, and there's an important exchange that happens.
Yeah. And, bands like Kiss, when they started,
Yeah.
what they were doing was pretty fearless slash ridiculous. I mean, they were laughed at by all their contemporaries until they dwarfed them in
Yeah.
popularity, you
I
know?
often wondered about masks and insecurity because I always think that when you wear a mask, you can come out, you're hiding yourself and you feel like hidden somehow. So your insecurities are hidden. And I thought the idea of painting your face and everything else kind of took something away
Mm,
from your own. But then it became like the cartoon thing, and it was amazing because if you're like 200 yards away in an arena, you want
right.
to see a sort of a kabuki style black and white face that really reams out across the arena, whereas just a little eyeball with nothing on it. Today it's a lot different because we've got these big giant screens that send you up the nose hairs of the artist.
Some of the HD shots are just, I mean,
Oh man,
jarring. But, I think we're all wearing a mask to some degree when we go out into the world.
there's a real skill in those camera guys. I have a friend, Alex Coletti, who
Yeah, the iMac guys at the concerts.
yeah, Alex Coletti was responsible for MTV Unplugged. He started that and
Oh, brilliant.
he was really good at capturing the essence of an artist. And still to this day, he's the guy that gets called in to film the Grammys or anytime there's a special event where you just can't fuck it up.
I mean, there's,
Alex just
those
comes in.
events. I mean, I've been in the truck. I worked on a lot of television live events when I was in Los Angeles, and those guys have one shot to get it right,
Yeah.
if it's live. And it's amazing with all those cameras and the way they're calling out the different camera angles. I mean, they're creating this thing in real time. And it's incredible to watch somebody really skilled at it do it.
Yeah. I mean, these days they've got 18 cameras all running in sync.
No,
And then the producer could just go, oh, missed that. Oh, replay. and then they actually get it because they may have missed it a little bit on the live feed, and then they go back and then they have a 10-second buffer
Oh, the delay.
where you think you're live, they can kind of
Yeah,
magically be always
it's pretty
right on
crazy.
ball.
I actually recorded a director. I think it was the Video Game Awards or the Guy's Choice Awards or something that was live, and, I was in the truck, and I actually turned on my memo thing just to record him calling the camera shots and talking to everybody. It was pretty incredible. People don't give a lot of thought to what goes into, a live production like that. Same thing like with football games.
Yeah, all of it.
There's
I
an
mean, most
incredible
people
amount of production that goes into that, and the guy
yeah.
who's directing that episode is on it, man. He's looking at a wall of televisions and calling that performance, if you wanna call it that, in real time.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, whilst you're saying that, I'm just thinking of all these ads that are they're like beer ads or ads for which is the best cable to watch sports games, and it's always the guy on his couch just popping a beer and, "Hey, the friends." What they really need to do is take the ad into the control room of the camera guys and the
Exactly.
sweat and tears. Those they really need a beer. They're like,
It's it's pretty crazy, man. It's very impressive to watch those guys do what they
yeah,
do,
yeah. I mean, we're
for
so
sure.
spoiled, right? We could travel to the moon from our armchairs. We can experience anything from with a remote. But the trouble is, if you believe they put a man on the moon, it leads me to my next thought that's been hurling around my tiny mind this week is how did all the beliefs I have get in there? Did I actually study all these things and did I go to the human library of all knowledge and cram for decades? No, pretty much I just ate the sandwich that was fed
Yeah,
me.
but you being an artist as you are extremely perceptive. So things that might be lost on a lot of people resonate in your brain and create more questions.
Yeah, maybe. But I
So,
realized that part of the art of getting wise is to unlearn as well as learn because, you can only hold so much in your cup. And by your cup, I'm talking about your current consciousness because you've got a subconscious, you've got a pre-conscious, and you've got an idea of what's going on in that minute. And sometimes holding those beliefs can block your empathic pathways where you know better, but
well, sure.
where your belief is blocking you and holding you back from
Oh,
doing
that's
something that's much more human.
it's ubiquitous. I mean, that's everybody, most people, I think, right?
Yeah, and I was been sort of rolling around in my head is like there are things that I know better that were predestined in me, like instincts almost that have been, yeah, brainwashed, I suppose.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I have an image of a big brain in a car wash with guys on ladders scrubbing this brush, scrubbing the brain with the brush, like real brainwash. You go down LA and
That's like
go,
brain cleaning.
yeah, imagine that. So if you could get into a thing where I know there's all this ayahuasca going on,
Oh,
isn't that kind of part of the unlearning? You're trying
ye
to get rid of the baggage that's in your brain.
I think it's about expanding your thought process, which we've talked about this in a previous episode that my mother hated, where we
Yeah,
talked about, using, cannabis to
right.
I think that I haven't done the ayahuasca, have you?
No, I haven't. I'm thinking about it, but then I kind of realized that um, a lot of it is just that hand that pushes you into the pool when you don't really want to get in.
Yeah.
You know, I know how to swim and I know when I how to get into the pool with the right things. I don't want to get pushed in
Right, right,
and
right.
I'm kind of I'm not sure that I'm arriving at a point where that's going to maybe it'd help me. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, the idea of, vomiting into a bowl,
Do
you
that
know,
anyway.
in a
A
room full of strangers
glass of whiskey would do that.
in order to become enlightened. And I've heard, I watch a lot of, different podcasts and things, and people have discussed this, and some people swear by it, and some people didn't have such a good experience.
Yeah. Here's a thought on that. You know, the vomiting is kind of synonymous with expelling the toxicity in you.
Right.
Well, I was talking with someone earlier today where I was just saying, when you enter a conversation or a rebuttal to someone's question, do you breathe in before you answer them or do you breathe out before you answer them? If you breathe in, it kind of pumps you up and you go, right. And you come out of your corner with this kind of like jet stream of air and it's your thoughts are like compressed and boom. Or if you breathe out, listen, I just heard what you said and I'm mulling around on it and I'm trying to find, there's a different feeling to it. So
You're saying it feels less defensive or less
yeah, yeah,
less
breathing in
aggressive.
before you answer someone is a bit defensive. Breathing out is not submissive. It's just a little bit more accepting. And so I've started thinking, oh, maybe there's something in that. It's been a weird week. I live now thinking, oh, I got to talk to you about that. And
Ah, yeah. Make notes.
yeah,
That's what I
so
do. Like if I see something interesting like that Gene Wilder documentary, I just drop it in my note thing under the name of our thing, and so I remember to ask you those questions.
yeah, here's a question I have for you. When you're walking through the casino on your way to the show that you work on, do you smell people's perfumes on the way in?
Oh, you smell everything,
Oh God.
like smoke mostly.
Oh, because people smoke still, don't they?
Yeah, in most like there is a non-smoking section of the casino. The showrooms, there's no smoking. The restaurants, there's no smoking. But I try to avoid the casino as much as possible and go directly into the showroom.
Right. So you don't have that sort of clash of powerful perfumes that sort of say, "Notice me" in a
I don't,
smell way?
I think they pump weird shit in there because I've heard rumors about.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they're true. Some say they're urban legend, about things that they, pumping oxygen into the room. I think that that's an urban legend.
Well, yeah, I would. Where people are smoking, pumping
Yeah.
oxygen into the room is a bit
Yeah.
f
I don't
bit
know.
flammable.
I mean, the filtration systems in those places are tremendous.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. No, I don't really, and I just try not. I don't like casinos. And when I walk into a casino and there's an 80-year-old person, with a tank,
Yeah, seen 'em.
and a cigarette in the other hand, I just want to clip the cable going to their oxygen. Is that terrible? It's terrible. Maybe I'll edit that out.
Yeah.
But so
But
I don't really, I've never been a gambler, right? I don't, I think maybe I've lived in Las Vegas for what, 9 years now. I think I've gambled $80 maybe in all of that 9 years, and that was because I was
yeah,
with other people that were gambling.
we
So
used to
I try to
play
avoid the casino as much as possible.
oh, yeah, we played a lot of casinos in
Oh
our
yeah, I'm
time.
sure.
And, I remember very early on when we were just starting up, some guy for the record company told us that that ringing sound is a C major chord because it's a
Oh,
happy, hopeful chord that's gonna get everyone in that feeling lucky mood.
oh, see, now I have to check and see if that's
Yeah, I don't know if it is now, but that was my urban legend. And the other thing I remember is we were sitting in the back of a van with the double doors open, and there were a load of people getting off, gamble ready. They're already tuned to winning
oh,
money, and
right.
we were just flicking quarters out of the door of the van, and it was just going cling, 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 cling on the floor, and you could see people were like, money, money." Like, if you do that in the high street, people kinda just ignore it, but near a casino, it was like bait,
You know what I
feeding the
do
shark.
notice? What I do notice when I walk through a casino is that the people playing the games, none of them look like they're having any fun unless they're winning, unless they just hit something.
Yeah.
Everyone just looks completely zoned out and kind of miserable. I mean, check it out. Next time you're in a casino, just pay attention to people's vibe as you walk around and they're playing those machines. It seems like they're just completely disconnected. And It seems like they're unhappy almost.
It's either that or they're just trying to look like extras in a James Bond movie,
I don't think it, not the crowds I see.
you know, Casino Royale,
I
where
think they're just fucking zoned out.
Bond is there with his like
You
smoking
know,
jacket, the bow
now,
tie. And
they hit something and they become animated and happy, right? But besides that, I'm telling you, it's like Zombieville. It's really weird. Now, the show that I'm the technical director of is in an independent, smaller casino.
right,
So it's a different crowd too. It's more of a locals gambling crowd. People come in for the shows and things like that from other places, but the day-to-day locals are what keeps a place like that running.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of different kind of styles of casino now, aren't there? There's like I like hanging out at the Cosmopolitan only because it's got
Yeah, I think I
different
met you
class
there
of
last time. Didn't we
yeah,
meet there? Or we tried to?
great restaurants in that place.
There's some great things. There's a lot of things to love about Las Vegas. The restaurants. I mean, my wife Debbie works in Los Angeles, and when they do big parties, they cater the food from Vegas,
Wow.
which sounds really strange, but I guess it's very common. There's tremendous restaurants here. There's entertainment everywhere.
Yeah.
And then when you get away from the strip, you have these nice neighborhoods like I live in. You wouldn't even know that you're in Las Vegas. But what does bother me is you can't go to a gas station without hearing that noise you're talking about and seeing
Like ling,
people,
ling, 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 even at the
and
airport.
or you can't go
Yeah.
to a bar. Well, there are a few where you could just go and sit at a bar that doesn't have a game in front of you. And so it gets a little, for me, maybe because I don't gamble, it just gets a little tiresome to always be around that.
Yeah, I think what they suffer from is the lowest common denominator factor. It's
Mm.
like mine the lowest depths for the last freaking penny you can wring out of someone rather than elevate them and then put some trite little if you have problem gambling,
They're not in the
maybe you
business.
shouldn't fucking be
Yeah, no,
there.
they're not in the business of elevating people. Now, all of the casinos have those signs and everything. If you have a problem, call this number. But they wouldn't be building these places, you know,
Yeah.
without that. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, like security notices tend to be
Yeah.
like when I'm on an airplane and I'm reading the sort of emergency instructions, I go, most of this is just like hypothetical because if something goes wrong, it's going to go really wrong. And this
Yeah.
little cartoon isn't going to isn't going to save my life.
What was great is you remember recently in the news there was a lot of people opening the emergency exit doors and things
Why?
like that. Do you remember seeing
Oh,
that?
yeah, I heard about it, but
It was
just
like a trend for a minute.
what idiots on TikTok saying, "Hey, this is a daredevil
No,
thing."
just crazy people, like people with a screw loose. And so, but there was a few of them like within a week, and I happened to be traveling with one of our shows. We were doing some fly-in dates around the country. So in that period of time, I was doing a lot of flying, and it was great because I could always get an exit seat because no one wanted to sit in the exit seat because of all the craziness in the news.
Yeah, but now those panels, those plugs are flying out the side of the airplane on their own. So
I mean,
talk about the loose screws; they're actually in the plane, not the passengers.
yeah, I don't know, man.
Crazy.
I got so tired of traveling over the last, you know, well, pre-COVID, really, I was doing a ton of traveling and
Yeah. What do you think about that Boeing stuff that's going on? Like they've obviously been responsible for some
the
bad
whistleblowing thing
building. Yeah,
and
the whistleblowers were like risking all and sundry to bring that, and then they go in front of a commission that basically says pay up, and you can kind of get a sort of forgiveness because they know that if Boeing disappears suddenly out of the air, no pun intended, our world that we live in will shrink. And the competition is European. So no way do they want to give up the competition. And then when you think about it, America could have several different airline building companies, but because of this monopoly thing between McDonnell's, Douglas, and Boeing, I go on about this because I've been talking to a retired American Airlines pilot who said, it all went tits up when they merged Boeing with McDonnell Douglas that have a history of making military planes, not passenger planes. And the whole fly-by-wire thing, the sort of understanding in the end product changed. During the war, they had to knock out those bombers super half of them are gonna get shot down anyway, it doesn't matter if it falls apart on the way. But with passenger planes, you've got a different story to tell, and so that mentality and so they go in front of the Congress and get slap on the wrist, 'cause, it came to mind because I was listening to somebody whose family was still mourning the loss of someone on a Lion Air flight where the Boeing 737 MAX had gone up and down in the space of seconds, and they would it was so much deniability that now they're coming out with this accountability to save
There's
their
no
asses.
doubt that big business is, you know, behind all that. Look, Boeing knew about some of these shortcuts for sure. And
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is exactly right. What's the alternative?
Yeah, really, there's
The-
no alternative.
You know,
Where, you know, there's Canada's making planes, maybe they're ramping up. So when we're talking about tariffs on things being built overseas and not letting them in, well, make sure your own product is good enough to survive the market because when you start dropping out the skies, the passengers are going to start looking
it's
elsewhere.
not good. I mean, I always look at it like when I fly, like, what are the odds?
Yeah,
I've never
exactly.
been that lucky. So I'm thinking,
Said the
odds
man
are
who's in Vegas.
on this flight, no one's going to try to open the exit door. I'm going to sleep in the exit row with extra leg room.
Yeah.
Chances are this plane's wing won't fall off, but who knows?
I do love the experience of flying. I
Ugh.
love I love the idea a journey is sometimes as much of getting away from somewhere as going to somewhere. So, there's that whole thing, especially as a musician, I'm, like, leaving the claustrophobia of daily life, and I'm going on the road, or I'm gonna hang out with my band in a studio,
Well, yeah,
or
that's a
I'm
little different. I mean, I hate the act of traveling, but I love being in other places. So,
yeah,
you know, I would probably continue to direct these shows on the road forever if it didn't involve the headache of traveling. Because the shows that I was doing were all fly-ins. And, some of these places are difficult to get to, as you know, but you guys are usually on a bus, right? You
yeah, the
So
bus is
just
good.
the day-to-day, like the missing connections, the whole like getting up at 4 and then you got a 4-hour layover. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
And
Doug.
but when I get to those destinations, I have an amazing time,
Yeah, Doug, I have news for you, though. When we do our little soirees that we're gonna be
Our
bringing
tour
out,
next year.
our little tour next year and every year after, um, we'll be flying mostly, but it'll be easy.
I'll just be medicated.
Yeah,
Medicate me.
we won't need a tour manager because that'll be you. We won't need a
Great.
sound guy
I'll be the
because that'll
tour
be you.
manager, the music
It'll
director, the babysitter,
be everything.
yeah, the psychologist.
Yeah, so you'll be
Um,
so busy doing that, you'll
that's
actually
what Xanax is for.
yeah,
I'll just refill.
"I am clean. I don't take any pills
Yes, I know you don't.
except supplements."
That doesn't mean that I don't get to. But no,
Yeah,
that'll be different because that's something in my mind, that's something that we're doing together and that's as opposed to like making somebody else's dream come true. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you'll be excited because it's
I think
something
so.
that we're gonna be bringing love and joy to the world
Plus, if I'm
outside.
the tour manager, I'm going to make sure there's no 4 a.m. lobby calls. That's the
Y
advantage of being the tour manager
yeah,
and the music director and the psychologist and the babysitter and
yeah, and there's no sharing rooms on this
the
one.
disciplinarian. I should hope not. Well, last time we shared a room was in Los Angeles,
Yeah, I remember it well.
but that was a huge suite, to be fair. Wait,
Oh,
wait, 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 wait. That's the trip where you were completely out of control.
I was
You were
excited.
so pissed because you were sitting in a middle seat, and I made you sit in the middle seat on the way there, and you were getting those little bottles of wine, and you were pounding them, and then you took vitamins out of your little thing and started pinging them at people's heads.
Childish.
Do you remember? Now we were much younger then,
Yeah,
but
childish,
I'm like, "You're gonna get our asses kicked." Like, you
but
were just so
terrible.
out of control.
terrible way to continue.
Do you remember?
I should say no, but you've told me that story so many times that I do remember.
And then you looked at me and you said, "I've never hated you more."
Yeah. Yeah, bloody hell.
Oh, it's one of my favorite sign memories. On the way home, by the way, I sat in the middle.
Thank
And
you.
why weren't we flying business class?
Because you were in charge of the booking the tickets.
I don't remember. There was, I don't know.
What was for that what was it? The,
God, that was a long
NARM, wasn't
time
it?
ago, man. They were for the NAM show, but this has
NAMM
got to
show,
be
yeah.
what? 2000 and not even, no, 90.
Was it? No, it was 2000 something, like
No,
2000, 2001,
I don't think so.
99.
I think it was late 90s.
Oh, okay, yeah, it must have been if I was behaving like that, it must have been way before then because I was
Yeah,
an
I mean,
idiot.
we were much younger, more
God.
immature. Well, I was the mature one.
Talking about hotel rooms, did I tell you the time when kill me if I'm repeating myself, but, when I got to Vegas to get my room key, 3 in the morning, oh, I'm so sleepy, go up to the room, and I open the door, 2 jacuzzis, no bed.
Oh,
I was like, "Well, this what kind of room is this?" So I
I
go
think we know what kind of room that is.
yeah, I go stonking back downstairs. I said, "Look, this isn't that kind of night. I just need a bed."
What hotel do you remember?
Yeah, it was the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, I love that place. It's different now.
Oh, yeah, it's different. I mean, my
That's
favorite one
hilarious.
was, the Hard Rock, though, when my friend, Lou Courier was managing it, and
Yeah.
I begged him to let me sleep in the room that, John Entwistle passed away in because
Oh, morbid.
I wanted to just have that connection with him.
Oh, fuck.
Um, yeah.
Well, I love that. That's where I saw you guys last play in town, right? Although they changed the name.
Really?
Wasn't it Virgin?
Oh, yeah, no, it's called the bowling something or other
Well,
now,
it's
isn't it?
called the Virgin song, but isn't that's it's the old Hard Rock, right?
Yeah, okay. Well,
I
no,
just saw you guys last time you played Vegas.
I'm talking about, the big Hard Rock where we did the pool outside and
I think that we're talking about the same thing. I think there's only
okay,
been one Hard Rock in Vegas, although they are
okay,
making another one now since the previous one was sold to Virgin.
okay, so that's what happened. Yeah, so been a while. Anyway,
Yeah.
enough of Vegas, just because you live there, I don't wanna talk about
No,
it
I
all
don't wanna
night.
talk about it either.
I'm like, having summer in Santa Cruz because we're not on the road this summer, and,
Right. Is it
I'd rather be
strange
out
to
on
be
the
home
road.
for the summer?
Yeah, it is. It's weird. I'm like, getting a bit antsy, so
Yeah.
this is a good, writing some good stuff though, fiddling about with sounds, but
Yeah, the stuff you've been sending me is great.
yeah, it's all
Are you gonna go to Cabo?
yeah, we're just waiting for the puppy to get her shot so that we can bring her
Oh
with
god.
us. It's just like having a child.
No, it's worse. A child you can leave with somebody.
Well, we could leave the puppy with someone too, but we kind of really don't want to.
Yeah.
She sleeps on my head, and I was like, "No one's slept on my head since the '80s."
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it was
You must
so
get so much you must get so much sleep.
I have a warm head, I tell you. Strange dreams.
That
Uh,
puppy's gonna get big too.
she's gonna get bigger. I'm gonna bring her out. Next time we shoot, I'm gonna hold her, and you could see how cute
Yeah, you
this
should. I'm sure everybody would like to see her.
I
I'd like
am
to see her.
besotted with this little animal, and it reminded me of my one relationship with the dog was Lucy, the
Oh,
Labrador.
that was the best dog.
She was so great,
She went
like,
everywhere. She was everywhere.
everywhere, and so
She was a terrific dog.
yeah, 15 years she was by my side,
I
no
remember her
leash.
very, very fondly. She was
Yeah,
always with you in New York.
yeah, always.
Always.
And then she flew to France with me, lived there, lived out her days on my farm, happy as can be, started to smell like an old tea towel because she found her own way to the lake, but she died happy. So I
That's
thought,
great.
in one life, you have one relationship with the dog and that's it. But then I realized with this little guy that's just come in, this little lady dog, it's all there. It's coming back. This
Yeah.
bonding,
Is she gonna be
fabulous.
joining us on our,
Yeah,
excursions later this year?
I think she may do.
That'd be
That'll
nice.
be in Tisha's bag, though. Tisha's department.
Be
She's
like
the
a, emotional support
yeah,
dog
yeah. We'll
instead
have
of emotional support Doug.
that's it.
That'd be gonna be a good change.
Yeah, and I'm sure Tisha will be out there training. She's
Cheers,
like my
red
dependable
Solo cup.
my dependable,
Nothing great in it since it's so early.
oh, really? What are you drinking there? Sounds icy.
Just club soda with a little bit of cranberry in it. It's
Really?
too early for anything else.
I've just had about 8 cups of coffee
Ugh.
and,
Doesn't that make you like,
oh, no, it calms me down actually.
oh, ADD,
Yeah, exactly.
exhibit A?
It gives me energy, but in a calm way. So yeah, I'm excited about today because I'm going to, return a broken fucking pot that some numbnut packed in a box so that it would roll around in the box
Ugh.
and arrive at my door rattling.
What
And it
is
just
it?
it's like a tagine. It's like a those Moroccan tagine things where
Oh,
you have
yeah,
to
yeah.
so nice color, wanted that, ordered I've already got one, but we ordered another one. It arrives broken
I
from
hate
World
that.
Market. And luckily there's a World Market just around the corner so I can return it
Ah,
and
that's good.
actually explain to the person what I think about their packing.
Well, who do it's really hard to find good help, you know?
God, I mean, you'd have to go far to find somebody who would think that that tagine would survive the journey the way they packed it, like a bit
Well,
of bubble wrap in the far corner, and that was it. And the
maybe it
rest of it,
was a Friday or a Monday.
yeah. Do you get much stuff arrive broken?
Not for the amount of stuff that I actually order. It's pretty good. What I do occasionally get is something that was an obvious return.
Right.
And that pisses me off because especially if it's expensive, like I got some lighting, this light wand thing, and it didn't have the remote. It had clearly been opened and returned. That happens occasionally, but actual broken stuff,
Um,
not really. Not really. Usually everything's in working order. I just, occasionally get the odd previously used item. And,
yeah.
the great thing about Amazon is they just take everything back.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How much business is actually returns?
A
So I've
lot, I'm
got
sure.
an image of people sort of entering a building and exiting a building at the same time, and there's like a big kerfuffle in the doorway because they're trying to get this stuff out, trying to get it returned.
I can't imagine what it costs. I mean, nowadays you don't even have to pack it back up. You just take it to like a
Yeah,
UPS store and
it's
drop it there.
outrageous.
There's a code on your phone. They scan it and they're like, thank you. And then literally 30 seconds later, bing, in your Amazon account, it shows that you returned it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole buy local thing is like, I'm okay. You go outside and go, what's happening to all the stores? They're
Can't
closing.
fucking find anything local. I mean, there was a Fry's here when I moved here, which is, most of what I buy is computer,
Yeah.
geek stuff. There was a great Fry's superstore here and it just went out of business.
Yep.
So there really isn't anywhere to go and buy the kind of things that I need. Best Buy may or may not have what I need, but that's hit or miss. So if I need like hard drives or lighting or anything like that, really my only choice is to buy it on Amazon.
Yeah. I saw a photo on somewhere. I don't know, somebody posted, a friend of mine saying, the photo of the local mall Saturday afternoon,
Dead,
deserted. And
deserted.
he said, oh, I thought I'd take, we'd go out and have a yearly trip to the mall. And he was like, what happened? I said, Amazon.
I really miss good local music stores.
Yeah.
Not just the record shops, but like musical instrument stores, independent
Yeah. Yeah.
instrument stores, because Guitar Center came in and Sam Ash came in and they destroyed all the independents. And those places are miserable. They never have anything that I need.
Yeah. They're all like in a truck somewhere and they'll
It's
get it
just,
for you.
so I buy everything through Sweetwater. I have a relationship with a guy there I've known for years. I get stuff very quickly. It's always, it's always right. But because of that huge Guitar Center and Sam Ash expansion, they pushed out all of the really cool independent music
Yeah.
store. I mean, there's still a few like Grun's Guitars in Nashville. If you're a guitarist, that's the mecca.
Yeah.
And there's a couple independents, but really, these big companies did come in and push out the little independent
Yeah.
guys, and then
We
destroy the market.
We
because
have
they
a
suck.
great little store in Santa Cruz called the Starving Musician. I mean,
Mhm.
they're probably a chain of about 3 or 4, but what I love about it is it's like a consignment store for a lot
Ah,
of, and in this town, there are a lot of history of guitar playing. So there's amazing guitars,
sure.
and there's no such thing as a used 1974. That's what you want. You want a 1973 Fender J45 or
Oh,
Gibson
God.
J40. You want it old, where the moisture's evaporated out the wood and it's got a tone. So those consignment guitar stores really have us, and the old amps
Yeah.
and stuff. I just bought this little thing the other day only because I fancy myself as a.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's actually in tune.
Red skies at night. So
I
that's
don't
where
wanna
that
get a
comes from.
copyright strike on this episode.
Yeah, that's I own the copyright.
They won't know that you wrote that song.
I own that.
They won't know that, though.
That's why I play my own music, mate. But
They'll
anyway,
just
that little bass, $200. It's like before I've got this big ass one that doesn't fit in here. That I was always hitting the wall. This is tiny, and so I can jam on it. And that's from this little guitar store, secondhand.
well, I gotta go check it out when we're there.
Yeah, you'd love it.
And I also, obviously I miss the record stores, the Tower. Remember the Tower Records right near the studio, your studio in New York?
Yeah,
Go spend an entire day in there,
I
you know?
did.
And I
I
really, I sound like the grouchy old man now who's out of touch, but I really miss, you know, physical record shops. I think that the one in LA, the big one,
Tower
Amoeba,
Records. Yeah, but oh
no,
yeah,
Amoeba, I think they closed it, did they? Or am
yeah,
I
Amoeba.
crazy?
Yeah, they had their last day, I think, or maybe I don't know.
It's fucking tragic.
This is
That
my
place was unbelievable. Who was it on Hollywood and
uh,
Fair?
Vine somewhere, Hollywood and Vine down there,
Right there at the corner. Like if you,
not far from the Capitol building.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a great store. Loved it.
S- see that?
Times are a changing.
It's a little baby cajon shaker.
Oh,
I love that. I got that from the
why do
Starving
you have
Musician,
that? What are you going to do with that fucking thing? Oh, it's a shaker.
but it just looks great. I put it next to the big cajon, and it looks like a little mini me cajon. So
You always have these little weird gadgets. Where's that round gadget that you were? It was that round electronic thing that you press buttons and it does all
oh
kinds of.
yeah, yeah, and I gave that to Adam because I got bored with it.
Oh yeah, I figured you would get bored with that.
I've got loads of things around here, but I can't find them. I've got these little finger snap one-hit shakes that you just put on your hand.
Oh yeah,
I'll bring them out. I won't talk about them now. I'll bring
please
them out
do.
another time.
Let's bore
Yeah,
everyone
man.
to tears with your finger snaps.
Yeah, well, they add that thing.
No, they really do.
So one
And
thing I
you
learned
play
from
a lot
hip
of
hop.
shaker live.
Yeah, one thing I learned from hip hop and good R&B stuff is that when Adam's laying it down and there's a groove going, if you just have a simple,
Mm-hmm.
it just and you could see it on the crowd. They're like, "Ooh," because audiences are much more rhythm trained these days because we're all like bombarded with hip hop and we're all like, "Well, let's just get the animal swang going," and then you just do this. It lifts something and it's
Of
subliminal.
course. That's why we use it. That's
Yeah,
why we
man.
use it. Like your last track where you're like, I want to feel the shaker, not necessarily hear it. See, this is what I have to put up with working with Psy. I
Yeah,
want it to sound yellow.
yeah.
Actually, to be fair, you've never said that to me, but I wouldn't put it past you.
Well, it's the difference between water as vapor or water as a drop of water.
Right.
I want it to vaporize into the track and not sort of be dripping the wet
Yes.
everywhere.
Oh,
That's a nice analogy, isn't it?
lovely.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, it's great to talk to you. And
Always.
again, I want to welcome all our new subscribers and viewers. Hit the like button, subscribe. 75% of you watch these things without subscribing. And remember, it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah. We don't know who you are, and we won't follow you, and we won't sell your
Yeah, we won't
information
bother you.
because we don't
But
really
we would love
care.
for you to bother us a little bit. Send us some questions. If you have questions for Cy,
Yeah.
questions about anything, comments, please, by all means, interact. We would
Like I
love
said
to
at the beginning, I
interact
am
with you.
very questionable.
You are questionable. You've always been questionable, but that's what we love about you.
Yeah, man. Have a good rest of your day, Dougley.
Yes, Cyril, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you soon, I hope.
Yeah, don't forget to let the cat out the oven. She may be roasted by now.
Oh gosh, she might be well done by now.
Yeah.
Poor thing. All
Love
right,
to
Cyril.
Debs. Love to Debs.
Yep. Same to Tisha. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.